Just wanted to make a quick video about building fences, apparently. So today we're building a short fence, 4 post sets at 79 and 7/8 of an inch on center to get equal spacing with what we have. So the main materials you're obviously going to need: posts, using 4x4s, pressure treat. I've got some just stud 2x4s for my supports to support the posts. You can use 2x2s, being as how tall these are. These are 8-foot posts standing about 6.5 feet out of the ground, so I prefer to use 2x4s. 2x2s are a little weak. So when you're doing this, the instructions on bags like this for post setting mortar mix are to have at least 1/3 of it embedded into the ground. That's a generic structural engineering call out that approximately 1/3 of a structure's vertical height needs to have some embedment into the ground to maintain stability. I've got about 1.5 feet down, and these are going to end up being 6 feet out of the ground, so I'm just under that, but it's not a hard set. It must be 1/3, especially for such a short fence. So main things: get your hole deep enough, get your posts lined up as they need to be. It's always best to run your line of control off of something known. So I am running off of the line of this house. I've got my control string that's set as my line, and then I figured out where I want this line to be based on this side around existing utilities, and then use that as my control dimension to go from there, because this was 15 inches to center of post there, so I came over here 15 inches from line to center of post, and that let me run my secondary string, which isn't strung right now because I just finished up with it, get this last post in. And as you can tell, I ran that as my centerline number, so I had to account for the thickness of the post to get a Faceline number, and that was 13.25 inches for these 4x4s. So the space between my two lines was 13.25, and it gives me a line of face. And what that'll let me do is line up the face of the post so I have rotation and location for where the posts need to go. I pulled tape from my endpoints, the centerline dimension I have, so I had to count for the 1 3/4 away from structure to get the center of post, and then 79 and 7/8 to center of post, and then 79 and 7/8 to center of post, and then 79 and 7/8 to center of post, and then the distance of the 1 3/4 of the rest of the post. And the best thing to do is to run this from here to here to here, and then run it from there to there to there, and that'll give you a double check that your dimensions are actually all matching up. And what I did is I marked the string on the center lines, so once I knew where they were, I came through, you can see that right there, and just marked it, so I have a good center mark. Go through and you mark center your post so you can easily see it. I usually don't, because a lot of the times if you work a lot with pressure treat, you can see on certain faces the pressure treat lines line up with a certain amount of dimension on them. I'm not going to go into that right now because there's a few different faces that they do. So it's just easiest to mark it out about where your string's going to be so you can see center line to center line. Get your posts in the ground, and then you run your level on one face, get that set, put up 2 supports, 1, 2, on that face so you know that you're maintaining level in this direction, and then you come to the other side, run your level on this side, and then usually you only need 1 in that direction. 3 is usually enough. If you want it to be extra sturdy for your concrete, you can do 4, but being that I've done this a lot, I really don't take the time to do that. One of the things to note that is left out of most instructions how to do this, if you look down there, that is sitting on a concrete block. That's just a generic 4-inch by 8-inch by 2-inch concrete block. I broke them in half, so they're about a 4x4 base size. And what that's doing is getting my post up out of the dirt. And that's going to give me the ability to get concrete to fully encase the post, so my bottom of post isn't sitting down in the dirt. When it sits down in the dirt like that, even though it's pressure treat, it increases the rate of rot of the wood. And the final bit, I'm about to put the concrete in. But a lot of these instructions say, you know, fill the concrete up to about 4 or 5 inches from the top of the hole, and then put soil on top of it. One of the best things you could do for maintaining the longevity of these posts is to actually bring the concrete up to the surface of your soil, and then have it slope a little bit upwards to the post. And what this is going to do is allow water that hits the post where this area and comes down, it's going to run away from the post. At that point, you can put a little dirt on it, or you can put some gravel or whatever. What this is going to do is control water from pooling inside of the dirt sitting on top of here at the post. If you know anything about wood design, any type of wood rot is always based around drying and wetting of wood. Wood that is continually wet generally will not rot. Wood that is continually dry generally will not rot. It's when it goes from phase to phase of wet, dry, wet, dry, wet, dry. That's what actually causes wood degradation and rot. And that is a quick how-to on to set these posts. I guess my only final note is this quick-crete style for setting posts says to just dump it in the hole, let it down. Being that I am by education a civil engineer and by career construction engineering management supervisor, that is a poor way to actually activate the mortar mix inside of the concrete. You want to mix it out of the hole and get a full mix and then dump it in the hole. Powdering and wetting in the hole will leave dry spots that will have zero structural capacity. And that's about it. Fun video on how to set posts for fence and build fences.